So welcome everybody, welcome to the CQF program. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Randeep and I'm the program director for the CQF. Now first of all, I want to say welcome to the 36th CQF program. We started in 2003, still going strong, and it's great to have you all joining us for the June 19 program. Now, first of all, let me apologize for not being there in person in London or live online. Unfortunately, I had to travel, so I still wanted to say welcome to everybody, so I got them to record this and actually, so I could go through and take you through some of the preliminary things that are always asked to us about the CQF. So let me get started because very shortly Paul Wilmot will actually start the first lecture. But before we get started, I want to go through some of the common questions, some of the things that are always asked at the beginning of the program. So let me start with the CQF program, your CQF program. All of you should have had access to the portals. All of you should have been able to access the primers, have gone through the primers. And also, if you look around, it's always worth looking around the portal, having a good explore of the portal. We start off by course materials. All the course materials will be available on the portals 24 hours before the lecture. 24 hours before so that you can have a look through before the lecture. We'd love to put them earlier than that, but unfortunately we don't get them until often last minute by lecturers who are always updating things. But they are on your portals and they'll remain on your portals as well. Textbooks. So about textbooks, all of you should have received your textbooks or they'll be on their way. If you do have any questions about textbooks, then please email Arinta. She'll be able to advise you on textbooks. Recordings. All the recordings are available on your portals after one working day, 24 hours after the lecture. So the recording team, they upload them, they edit them, they upload them, and they're uploaded onto your portals within 24 hours. If you go to cqf.com, I think if you go to the bottom, there's a login button there to log into your portal. You should have all logged into your portals already anyway, and then just explore and you'll see all the materials there. The next one I'll talk about is the app. People always ask about the app. The app is very useful, the app is there to give you flexibility, study where you like. So if you haven't downloaded the app already, then please contact Arinta. She'll be able to send you a link. You can download the app. I think it's available on both Apple and Android. And you can download lectures into the app and watch them offline. So it's very good. It's very flexible. Just some dates, some course module dates. As you all know, there's 6 modules in the CQF plus the advanced electives. And here are just some of the days. Module 1 from the 25th of June to the 16th of July, and so on. This slide pack, all these details will be uploaded onto your portal so you can go through these and look at the dates and plan accordingly as well. Exams. So we always asked about exams. So let me go through the exam structure. Let me try and clarify that. There are 3 exams and a final project. Okay. The exams and the final project are mandatory in order to qualify and get the CQF. You have 2 weeks to complete each of the 3 exams, and you get a longer period, about I think it's 6 to 8 weeks to complete the project. The exams, 2 weeks, are open book. So you can use any of your course texts that you've got, your lecture notes, those kind of things as well. And the exams are uploaded onto the portal. They'll be marked by faculty, and you'll get feedback and a mark and an overall percentage. Please, I'll point out this final bullet point, please ensure you keep a copy. So far, we've never lost one, which is great. But now I've just said that, who knows? So keep a copy of your exam. Keep one safe, just in case something happens, because all of that work, you don't want to lose it. So always keep a copy for yourselves. Here's just how the exams are marked, the weightings and the dates. So 20% each for the 3 exams, and then the final project is worth 40%. There is a final optional distinction exam. That doesn't count towards your mark. That can give you a potential distinction. That's an optional exam. You don't have to do it to get the CQF. And that's a 3-hour sit-down exam. We book an exam center wherever you're located in the world. You go along, you do it. If you get over 80%, you get a distinction. But for the CQF, it's the 3 exams and the project. Just some more information. There is a CQF forum. This is only available to delegates, alumni, and faculty. It's a private forum. Paul will actually talk you more through, the forum and how to register for the forum and all the details of the forum. So I will leave that to Paul. But the one thing I will mention is after Paul's explanation, you will need to email Arinta once you've actually registered on the forum, Arinta with your name, email address, and wilmot.com username. But Paul will explain more of that very, very shortly. Wilmot Magazine, you all get a year subscription to Wilmot Magazine. So really great magazine and really worth looking through and reading. And you need to put your postal address where you want it sent on the portal. Lifelong learning. If you're on the full program, you get access to lifelong learning from lecture 1. If you're doing level 1, level 2, you'll get access once you start level 2. It's there, it's worth exploring, but I always say to people, focus on the CQF to start with. And the final thing I'll mention here on this page is awards. People always want to know about the prizes and the awards that are available on the CQF. So there are 3, get you all competitive. There's a Wilmot Award for Excellence, and that's for the best result in the final exam. So if you do the final exam, that's if you get the best result. There's a First in Class award. So if you get the highest mark across all your 3 exams in the project, you will be awarded the First in Class. And there's the CQF Institute Award for the final project, the best final project. So there are 3 prizes up for grabs. So those of you who are competitive, who want those prizes, they're how to get them. CQF Institute. So if you haven't already joined the CQF Institute, please do join the CQF Institute, cqfinstitute.org. CQF Institute is the awarding body of the CQF. And there's lots of activities, always lots of things going on. And, conferences, events, articles on the Institute. So if you haven't already joined, I would encourage you to all go to cqfinstitute.org and join. It is a separate username and login, but definitely join and keep in touch, and the Institute can then keep communicating about all the Institute events that are going on, as well as the CQF events. So, very finally, here's just some details. As I mentioned, my name is Randeep. I'm the Program Director. Other key people, Christian, who's the Head of Business. And really the key people to get to know are Joe and Arinta. Joe is Senior Program Manager for the CQF, and Arinta is the Program Executive. They are there to support you throughout your CQF journey on things that are non-CQF kind of material, technical. So any issues, any questions you have about, the CQF or any of the processes, Joe and Arinta, make friends with them because they will be the most helpful. They'll be able to help you with anything. And when it comes to the technical questions, when it comes to support, then it's our faculty. And here, the people to get to know are Riaz, who's our head of faculty, who will be teaching you very shortly in this module, and the other tutor, Richard, who's a member of CQF faculty, is there, who are there to support you. So, thank you very much. Enjoy joining the 36th CQF program, the 36th CQF cohort, and I will now hand you over to Paul Wilmot, who's going to take you and who's going to start the first lecture. So welcome to the program again, and thank you very much.
So this is the first lecture. The first lecture is very introductory. It's quite gentle. It's also going to introduce you to quite a few things, some mathematical things, some financial things. You'll also be doing some spreadsheet work, really, really simple stuff on a spreadsheet. If you haven't brought your own laptop with you, then sit at one of the free laptops. There aren't many free laptops now. Also, you should have been sent a spreadsheet just with some data on. Has everyone got that? Who's got their own laptop? Everyone got that data? Anyone not got that spreadsheet? Okay. Is that your laptop? That's your laptop, yeah. If you haven't, anyone else? Is this the only one person? And it should be it should be pre-installed on the laptops that are here. If you could just take the data off. I have it now. You have got it. That was quick. You do? You don't? Yes. He does. Okay, good. Everyone's got the data. What else we got? We've got Malta, Chicago, Mumbai, Germany, Cork, London. Why are you here? Gabrielle, getting your free drink. You can join us at 8:30. All bar one, I think it is. Sao Paulo, Palos Verdes, California, that sounds nice. More Brazil, New York, Chile, Denmark, Louisville, Kentucky. I remember it well. Don't talk about that. Zimbabwe, Bangalore, Moscow. Gosh. Well, I hope I've given you a little bit of insight into how broad the CQF is. One thing, before we start on any of the finance, there's one thing I want to mention that Randeep, he mentioned it very briefly. Here's my mouse. He mentioned the forum on wilmot.com. Who's already a member of wilmot.com? Any of you a member of wilmot.com? Just a few. Right, what you have to do is you have to go to wilmot.com. This is to access the forum. Oops, wilmot.com. Okay, access the forum. Join. Go to just wherever it says register somewhere on the website and sign up. A couple of things about that, just the sign up process. First of all, you have to use a non-anonymous email address, a work email address or a university email address or your own domain name. And that's just for reasons of to limit trolling behavior. When we first launched decades ago, we were right at the cutting edge of trolling. We were trolled before anyone, before Twitter had been invented. So we know all about trolling. And one of the ways we've reduced that is just to insist we have to know who you are. Nobody else knows who you are, but we know who you are. And if you do anything on the website that's naughty or illegal, violates intellectual property, and some lawyer comes after us and says, we're going to sue your website, we will throw you to the wolves. Okay, we will not. We're not. We love free speech, but we're not willing to die for free speech. So we want to know. We know who you are. So you have to use a non-anonymous account. If you haven't got a university or work account, then get your own domain name, which you should all have by now anyway. That's the first thing. Secondly, choose an anonymous username. So, you might say things on a forum which turn out to be, not the smartest thing that you've ever said, and it will be there in all perpetuity. And so it's better, especially if you're learning a subject like quant finance, if you do interact with people and you say something dumb, you might feel bad about it, you might regret it, but it could be there for ever and ever. So choose a non-anonymous, a non-anonymous email account, but an anonymous username. Okay, you with me? Also, some people do things like they have their name and then they put CQF after their username. The idea being, this is my CQF login. Don't do that either, because again, if you say something dumb and it's in a public area on the website, because there are public and private areas, if you say something dumb and it's clear this is a CQF alumnus saying something dumb, that reflects badly on the CQF. This is all common sense, isn't it, guys? Surely. But the number of people who do daft things, it staggers me. So don't. Also, as I said, there are two sorts of areas. There's the public areas, and then there's the private CQF forum. Now, when you join up, you will have access to all the public stuff. But in order to get into the private stuff, we have to know of all the people that are joining the website, who are the CQF delegates. And so what you have to do is then you have to email Orinta. I forget what an email address is. Email Orinta saying, my username is this. And then what happens is we then give you access to the secret hidden CQF forum. Okay, so until you've done that bit, told Orinta what your username is, you won't even see the hidden forum. All right? But then as soon as we let you in, you can see the CQF forum. And that's where you can discuss the CQF. Again, please don't discuss the CQF or the contents of the CQF or give away any of the secret stuff, the secret handshake, stuff like that. None of that goes do not put any of that in the public areas. All right? Again, it's really common sense. Any asking questions, etc., do that about the CQF content. Just restrict that to the CQF forum. Does that make sense? Not too controversial, I don't think. Okay. What else? I think that's probably it for now. What else have we got? Calcutta, Johannesburg, Hampshire, UK. What's the weather like? Ambleside, England, Toronto, India, Don in Dallas, Quebec. Gosh, very exciting. Right. So any questions about any of those things? We're going to start with something really trivial, but it's kind of fundamental to the whole of quantitative finance. Now, some of the CQF is classical quant finance, and some of the CQF is non-classical quant finance. The classical stuff tends to be stochastic calculus based. It tends to be well-known, famous models, financial models with famous names. The non-classical stuff sometimes uses the same stochastic calculus tools, but then there's also things like machine learning. These are all within the CQF. And there is the core part of the CQF, which is the 6 modules. Randeep briefly mentioned how there is the lifelong learning, or what we colloquially call the extras. These extras are additional to what is covered in the exams in these 6 modules, the 6 months, and the things that you will have access to in perpetuity. And there's an awful lot. There's a lot more in the lifelong learning than there is in the core 6 modules. But because the CQF is quite high pressure, only really look at the lifelong learning if you feel you've got time. Okay? The thing about the CQF is the learning curve goes like this. It's very shallow today. Okay? Then it goes like this. It goes like this. And just at the point where you're about to pass out, the G-force is too great, it levels out. Okay? It's around about the end of module 3 when you think you can't take it anymore. But suddenly, okay, because we've done this before. So we sort of know, we know what the human brain can take. And we give you just enough. So we start off very gently. And this, for the moment, is the foundations of the classical side of quantitative finance. Right? So you will see non-classical things later on. And this lecture is about the random behavior of assets. What you're going to see in this lecture is a brief description of the different types of financial analysis that one commonly does. That leads on to looking at some time series, modeling returns, questioning whether prices are random, need for probabilistic models. We will then take some data, the data you've got in the spreadsheets, and we'll analyze that statistically. Statistically is probably a little bit too strong a word. It's really, really simple stuff. And we'll use that analysis to build up to a very simple model called the Wiener process, and that leads on to the log-normal random walk. And the log-normal random walk is the common starting point, and in some cases the ending point, for lots of things in quantitative finance. It's a very good model compared with some things you'll be seeing later on. And one of the things about the CQF is we do tell you, it's a warts and all thing. We will tell you the good stuff and the not so good stuff. And there's lots of bad stuff in quantitative finance when it comes to things like interest rate modeling and credit risk modeling. Those models are really not that great. But this model, and that's not our fault, we'll do the best we can, but we want you to know the ups and downs of the subject and how to cope with bad models, etc. But this is a particularly good model that you'll see. It's very common, very popular model. And by the end of this lecture, you'll be able to analyze stock price data statistically, a very simple model. You'll be able to understand and justify the log-normal random walk, but crucially, you also know where things go wrong, how important is it, even though the models, this is not a proper science. This is a social science. This is not physics. We use lots of mathematics and statistics, but just because we're using maths and stats doesn't in any way mean the models are brilliant. Now, this is not fluid mechanics, etc. Okay? So we start off, we'll look at some data shortly, and that data will be discrete time data. It is daily data, the data that we've got. Here, I've just downloaded something from Yahoo. It's the S&P 500 index going back 70 years, daily closing prices. And we're going to play around with that with the goal of building up not a discrete time, i.e. 1 day or 1 hour or whatever, to build up a continuous time model. Now, the reason why we do that is most of the mathematics we use in quantitative finance is continuous time, even though the data is necessarily discrete, even if it's hourly data or tick data, is still discrete data. But we like to work with continuous models, continuous time models most of the time. Now, I'm not quite sure why, but continuous time models just seem to be more user-friendly than discrete time models. I don't know whether that's true or not, or whether that's just the way mathematics is taught. Certainly, I spent a lot more time doing differential equations than I ever did difference equations, by a factor of 20 to 1, probably. Who here is an actual mathematician? And distance people, who's an actual mathematician? What sort of mathematician? What did you...
Pure maths.
Pure maths.
Philosophy of maths.
Philosophy of maths, okay. So you know why continuous time maths is easier than discrete time maths?
No.
What did you do? Pure maths. Any applied mathematicians? So there's no hope then. I'll never know the answer to that question. Never mind. All right. So 2 pure mathematicians. Physicists. Electrical engineers. Fluid mechanics. I've got a horrible feeling if I say something like economics or finance, a lot of hands are going to go up. Economics and or finance. Oh, dear, dear, dear. They're the hardest ones. Please, please, there's no one here with a master's in quantitative finance or financial engineering, is there? Any PhD? Oh, PhD in finance? Okay, PhD in finance. Oh. See, these are the worst because we have to, everything they know, we have to wash their brains of all that stuff and replace it with the good stuff. It's hard work. I'd much rather start with pure, unadulterated, applied mathematicians, ideally, or electrical engineers or fluid mechanics. That's the kind of maths that is best. Anyway, it's nice. We have seen it all before. Are there any medics here? We've had medics. Any lawyers? We've had lawyers. Any historians? We've had historians. Don't worry, we've seen it all before. Right. Anyway, for reasons which we don't know, continuous time maths seems to be easier, and we're going to take our discrete time data and build up a continuous time model. And that continuous time model is this thing called the stochastic differential equation, which forms the foundation for lots and lots of different quantitative finance. Not all of it by a long way, but quite a lot.